Does seeing this devastation, though, change your opinion at all on climate change, Mr. President?
No. I have a strong opinion. I want great climate. We're going to have that, and we're going to have forests that are very safe. Because we can't go through this every year. We go through this, and we're going to have safe forests, and that's happening as we speak.
You know, it's bizarre that our president continues to avoid talking about climate change, and now we have a U.S. government report saying it's here, it's man-made, and there are going to be dire results. Derek Van Dam is here with us. Talk about the biggest takeaways, Derek, from the report.
It's a bit counterintuitive, isn't it, to have a federal agency releasing this report and then the president saying another thing. But regardless of that, what we've seen from this report is astounding. It is the most comprehensive, meticulous, authoritative report that highlights the threats on climate change to the entire U.S. population. In big, bold lettering, right off the top of the overview of this report, it reads, "The Earth's climate is changing faster than any point in the history of modern civilization, primarily as a result of human activities." That's burning of fossil fuels. It says it right there. Get to the graphics, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is incredible. It talks about the U.S. Threats to climate change in more of a regional and hyper-local impact. So it talks about the health, your well-being, the agriculture and food production, availability of fresh water, even the rate of economic growth. It highlights everything, people. Here's some of the details. Talking about agriculture, for instance, a staple diet, soybean and corn. The Midwest, the breadbasket of the U.S., is potentially going to produce less than 75% of its total yields of corn than it does today by the end of the century. Now, the region could also lose more than 25% of its soybean production compared to what it produces today. Now, western wildfires, up to 6 times more acreage burned annually by 2050, and burned areas in Southwest California could double by the middle of the century. Now, temperatures have already risen 1.7 degrees Fahrenheit, according to this report. What's the big deal? Why do we care? Hey, that means more beach days, right? Unfortunately, that's not the idea they're trying to get across to the public. What they're trying to say here is that a warmer planet is a concern. It is the rate of change of warmth that is so alarming to scientists. And you can see that here, post-industrial revolution, how temperatures have increased dramatically, that 1.7 degrees. Now, this is what the U.S. is doing so far. Hopefully, we're leading by example. Cities assessing their vulnerability, building and increasing their infrastructure for resilience and adaptation to climate change, wildfires. Some of the federal forests there are developing adaptation strategies and methods to address this increasing risk that we saw just in California, in Butte County, in Paradise, not 2 weeks ago, that unfortunately has taken the lives of over 80 people. So much to talk about, so little time to discuss it all. But the big story here is that it covered every single aspect of climate change and the threats to our community.
Yes, and we also know it's worldwide. We're all connected.
Yeah.
This focused on the United States, but yes, it is kind of a leery look at the future, isn't it?
And I think it's interesting that it talks about how it disproportionately impacts more vulnerable people, that being climate change. So what can we do as humans? If we could bring up the graphic here on the computer screen, we could talk about it starts at a grassroots level. So Natalie, for instance, you and I or anyone watching this morning could install solar panels on your roof, or perhaps you could drive an electric vehicle. People will start to see the financial implications of that. You're saving money in the long term. That builds up from a local level, and then it starts to have a cascading effect on people's decision-making, and it goes on from there.
It doesn't help that the Trump administration has rolled back environmental protections, too.
No, it does not.
All right, Derek, thank you.
All right.